Laura, well, we can do a little. That's okay. Thank you all for joining.
Go out there.
I'm reconvening open session. Gina?
I recommend closing and sealing the minutes of tonight's executive session as they pertain to the following: the privacy of students and their records, sessions pertaining to collective bargaining, and the discussions or considerations related to the acquisition of real property for public purposes where an advanced public information would be detrimental to the public interest, and 4, discussions regarding matters of security.
So moved. Thank you. We have a motion and second to close executive session minutes. Those in favor? Thank you.
Just
The only one missing is Jessica. Okay. Next up is disclosure of executive session votes. We had 4. First was related to executive minutes related to homeschool. It was unanimous in favor. Those in favor were Lowell, Lyle, Purcell, Callahan, Taft, Luzon, Reynolds, Eves, and Phelps. The second vote related to homeschool approvals. It was unanimous in favor. Those voting were Lowe, Lyle, Purcell, Callahan, Taft, Luzon, Reynolds, Eves, and Phelps. Next was to approve EOPs. It was unanimous in favor. Those voting were Lowe, Lyle, Purcell, Hopkins, Callahan, Taft, Luzon, Reynolds, Chapman, Eves, and Phelps. And then closed executive session, return to open session. It was unanimous in favor. Those voting Lowe, Lyle, Purcell, Hopkins, Callahan, Taft, Luzon, Reynolds, Chapman, Eves, and Phelps. Thank you. Recognitions.
Okay, well, we have one. It's really important. I'm pleased to formally welcome to the school committee Angela Christina, our new principal of Charahoe High School, which we just found out again, a top 10 high school. Congratulations. Angela brings a student-centered approach, a strong commitment to collaboration, and a clear belief in the importance of relationships, high expectations, and meaningful opportunities for every student. We are excited to have her leading Charahoe High School, and we look forward to her energy, her experience, and her perspective that she brings to our school community. So please join me in welcoming Angela Christina.
Thank you, everyone. Hello, and it's an honor to be standing here tonight as the principal of Charahoe High School. I come to Charahoe with over 25 years of experience in education, most recently serving as the assistant principal at South Kingstown High School for the past 5 years. While I officially stepped into this role on July 1st, I visited Charahoe High School in June to meet students and staff, and every single person since that day has warmly welcomed me into the Charahoe community. Fun fact, this is kind of crazy, ready? I completed my student teaching here 26 years ago under Mr. Mark Fain, and he's still here
He is
today.
still here.
Yeah. He was great, and I'm sure he's still great today. Today, I hosted a wonderful parent meet and greet where many families and students came in, and we had great conversations, kind of starting to build those vital community connections. I'm thrilled to be here. My goal is to always be accessible and available to listen to our students, staff, families, and community members. I look forward to hearing everyone's ideas and suggestions as we collaborate to build upon the incredible success of Charahoe High School. Thank you for welcoming me into this wonderful community.
Thank you. Next up is public forum. We had 2 people sign up. First up is Jeremy Palmer.
Good evening. My name is Jeremy Palmer, Hopkinton, Rhode Island. I was raised with the aspect of respecting people's time. My father, as well as Mr. Bannister and other role models in my life, taught me that you're either 10 minutes early or 20 minutes late. In today's event, we're 27 minutes late. I'm here today to speak about the NAEP testing in regards to another aspect that I'd like to point out is Justin Bentley here today, because I'm not sure who that is. Are they here today? Justin Bentley? So I was taught to look people in the eye when I'm speaking to them, out of respect. So it was brought to my attention.
Excuse me, Mr. Palmer.
Yes.
You're here to address this school committee at a public forum?
I'm here to speak as a committee, as a community member openly.
That's fantastic, but you're at a school committee meeting.
Right, and
you're using
out
our
of respect,
public
I was
forum.
trying to speak to this gentleman because I'm
He has
mentioning
nothing
his
to do
name.
with school
Okay, so I'll get on with it. So
Thank you, sir.
Justin Bentley made the accusation that during the NAEP testing that I wasn't contacted by the school vice principal, which I was contacted by the school vice principal. So I would like to make that statement clear, that I was called by the vice principal who asked me to take my son out of NAEP testing because she thought that it would be detrimental to his mental health. I failed to see that because what I saw it as was an opportunity for the school to manipulate the test because my son is an IEP student and I feel like he may have not have had the best scores to highlight. So to clarify, I was contacted by the school and asked directly to not have my son participate in the NAEP testing. So if there's any questions that anyone has or validation that they need, I'd be happy to supply that because I have the phone call on record as well as the February 4th date that I was contacted. So that was the reason why I'm here today. So I also just want to openly say that I feel like the dialect in the room is and has been since I started attending these meetings, which is why I kind of backed out of the meetings, is that we're not really here for a resolution because the objective is that everyone would give a little bit and get a little bit. And I feel like the majority of the room has already made their decision, not based off of what the subject is, but where their alliance lay. I know that you came to a meeting, a Republican meeting that I was at, and you were, shunned before you even had an opportunity to talk, which I thought was completely ridiculous. And that was the last meeting that I attended because the objective that I don't see that happens in the majority of these meetings is no one's open-minded. No one is ready to accept what somebody else has to say and find a resolution in that matter. And, another issue that I have in the school is really how it's become so political, where you can't say that I have values that don't represent yours, no matter what they might be, and now all of a sudden those people are now enemies. We see it on Facebook, we see it on all kinds of forums that are on the internet. So again, as I've said in almost every meeting that I've attended, is that let's really look for some common ground here, because that's not what I see, and that's why I really have backed out of all these meetings and stuff. And the kickback that I get from people and the disrespect, especially from this gentleman right here, who I was arrested in a school meeting for not wearing a mask, and I had made a T-shirt because I believe that sometimes a picture says a lot more than any words could say. And you took it upon yourself to come up to me, put your hand on me, and offer me $20 for that shirt. So as a representative of your character, I would say shame on you, because that's not the kind of people that we need that are leading this school. We need people who are open-minded. If you have any kind of opinion, then that is yours.
Yeah.
And it should be. So that's all I have to say.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So, folks, this is, public forum's an interesting thing. And quite frankly, my approach to it is that every elected person or appointed person up here, we represent the government. And for us to, in some way, try and silence you is an affront to First Amendment principles. And it can be difficult. It can be a little uncomfortable, but quite frankly, we're here for that. So if you feel the need to come up to the mic and, call me a jackass, I can take it. That's your right to do it. I will not prohibit you from doing it. I'm saying this because I did not interrupt Mr. Palmer. But what I would prefer, and what I will insist on, make your comments to me. I represent the school committee. It's my job to manage the meeting on their behalf. And so just make them to me directly. So thank you. We have one more person. Fantastic. Jennifer Gregory.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Gregory. I'm one of the parents of children at Ashaway Elementary School who spoke at the June meeting. I have 2 children that went to Ashaway Elementary. In June, we described how the policies of the current administration at the school have had severe negative effects on many children, presented the massive increase in police and emergency medical response at the school, and requested that the school committee conduct a review of the administration. Aside from one email from Laura, we haven't heard anything back. I'd like to bring up some other points regarding what happened last year. My daughter, who was a 2nd grader last year, is academically gifted. She was in the highly capable program, and she loved school. Last fall, she'd be out on her bike 20 minutes before the bus came because she was so excited. She began having panic attacks last November. During December, she was inconsolable for an hour or more every single night. She still has daily panic attacks, severe anxiety, and is fundamentally a different person. The current administration at Ashaway repeatedly downplays the severity of incidents at school. Mandy, Principal LeClaire, does not communicate adequately with parents, and when she does, she lies to us. Last November, in the very first email that I sent Mandy about my daughter being bullied, I outlined how 2 other children had also been hurt, and I copied their parents on the email. A month later, Mandy told my ex-husband and I that she was not aware of any other children having incidents with the bully. I thought that was a weird lie, since I originally came to her with 2 other parents of my daughter's friends, and I also knew of one of my son's friends who had been injured by the other child. Another example was during a meeting my family had with the school in May. I was raising concerns about the lack of adequate supervision causing violent behavior at recess, specifically inside the wooden walls of the Gaga Ball area. Mandy lied and said no other families had expressed concerns. First of all, the insinuation that multiple parents have to complain about physical assault before anything is done is absurd. Secondly, I was aware that another parent had called the day before about the lack of supervision of Gaga Ball because of what their child had experienced. After months of meetings, phone calls, and many emails, here's a list of things I was still asking for last May. This is from an email that I sent. Have enough staff at recess and lunch. Ensure all staff are aware of any incidents involving students who are in their care so they know to be extra vigilant. Make it school policy that all students who report being hit, pushed, scratched, bit, aggressively screamed at until they cry, inappropriately touched, etc., go to the school nurse immediately to be evaluated. This will serve a secondary purpose of documentation. Communicate incidents to students' family as soon as you hear about them. Send an initial response back to all reports of bullying, inappropriate touching, etc., on the same day that students or families make the report. Communicating promptly is very important. A simple acknowledgement with a promise to follow up goes a long way. Follow up on incidents. Also inform the family of the results. Stop proposing solutions that isolate and punish victims. Believe victims. Don't sweep incidents under the rug and pretend they don't exist. Addressing incidents as soon as you hear about them is very important. That way they don't grow larger and affect more students. Don't award Bully Student of the Month. Better yet, do away with popularity contests that can sow jealousy and come up with other ways to create student engagement and connection. Perhaps cooperative games where students win by working together. That list. Believe victims. Tell parents. Bring hurt children to the nurse. I'm angry. I am very angry that I spent months advocating for things so basic I should never have had to ask for them in the first place. A principal has to be able to play politics a little bit. If a parent comes in and is extremely concerned about the school environment, the principal ought to be calmly reassuring while listening and addressing the concerns. Unfortunately, Mandy purposefully attempts to be intimidating. In our meetings, she used a very loud, raised voice while leaning towards me in an aggressive manner and attempting to silence me by talking over me. Her behavior is extremely unprofessional, unbecoming, and unproductive. From the online disciplinary guidelines handbook, it says that physical altercations are supposed to be documented and have consequences. But at Ashaway Elementary last year, hurt children weren't taken to the nurse, parents weren't told about incidents, and incidents weren't documented. This clearly fails the child who has been hurt. It also fails the other child. If the incidents were documented and the child was out of school as a consequence over and over, then the child's family could petition for a transfer because the school is clearly not meeting the needs of that child. Trying to use a restorative circle for severe repeated incidents. The very last point of the standards for student behavior elementary schools is administrators or their designees have the authority to implement restorative measures in lieu of or in conjunction with consequences of the behavior code. A restorative circle might be appropriate for smaller misunderstandings between students. It is inappropriate for circumstances when a child has been repeatedly physically assaulted and emotionally hurt. I firmly declined this option for my daughter. However, Mandy continued to push it for months, all the way through May. Another point, inappropriate touching is supposed to be immediately referred to the office and the Title IX coordinator. When a different child, a male child, hit my daughter on the butt on 4 separate occasions, Mrs. LeClaire's entire response was to hand me a sticky note with the email address for the district's Title IX coordinator. That's not sufficient. Another thing I'd like to bring up are some unintended consequences of closing Hope Valley Elementary School. CALA for the elementary level has been consolidated at Ashaway Elementary School. I sat here in June and listened to the director of the middle and high school CALA describe a program that supports struggling students and provides them with a unique opportunity to succeed. So why is the administration of mini CALA at Ashaway positioning it to parents as a punishment for students at the elementary level? Last year, there was no room in mini CALA regardless, because the administration is unable to retain staff. Why are the students who need the most support and can't get it because mini CALA was full? Why are they in Ashaway Elementary, the school with the largest class sizes? Why are the highest need students at the elementary school in the lowest income town? Another thing from the online handbook is regarding the High C program. It says that students should be taken out of class a minimum of twice a week. The highly capable program is run by the literacy teacher. At Ashaway Elementary, they haven't had a librarian for the past 2 years. This forced the long-term subs to run the program. It only ran once per week. That's not meeting the needs of the children who are in that program. Additionally, Principal Leclerc told my family last fall that she would be having the math specialist create a math-based, highly capable program for the second graders after Christmas break. That never happened. A couple of children have already left Ashaway Elementary School because of the policies of the current administration. The families of several more children have been examining the feasibility of transfers as well. People move here for the schools. I grew up here. I went to Hope Valley Elementary and then through the middle school and the high school. And I moved away for about a decade. Came back, got married, bought a house in Ashaway. Been there 13 years. I wanted my children to go to school here. But if I could go back in time, I would pull my children out of Ashaway Elementary last fall. I have previously requested out-of-district transfers. I'm now bringing it up at this level to request them for my children. My daughter is terrified to go back to school. I personally know families with students at Ashaway that were in kindergarten, in first grade, so many in the second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and mini Cala, who have been severely negatively impacted. Children who are now in therapy, who have had to transfer schools, children who are crying before school in the morning when they never used to. The parents don't want to come and talk at these meetings. It hurts to relive what happened to our children. Parents are afraid that their children will face retaliation, and people don't think that speaking up will help, because none of us know what action the committee has taken since we spoke up 2 months ago in June. You have my email. Please be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you coming up and speaking. I know it can be difficult to do, and I know that it looks as if at times it falls on deaf ears. It does not. This committee has talked about this issue. The administration has heard you. They've explored it. The rules governing what can be shared are so strict that this committee has no legal right to know anything that goes on with an individual student until it reaches a certain threshold for us. My encouragement to you is to keep advocating. You're doing a fantastic job. Your voice matters. We appreciate you coming here, even though it can be difficult. There are people in this room who needed to hear it, and they have heard it. I appreciate you being available for that. One comment I would make, though, in terms of fear of coming and speaking, this committee, irrespective of what political background or agenda or whatever we have, the 12 of us are united in our love of this district and our sincerest endeavor to ensure that our children get a fantastic education. At no point in time would we ever tolerate some sort of retribution. There would be a long line of people who would be very, very angry, and the first person at that line would be Superintendent Picard. We would never allow that to happen. So I encourage you and others who want to share their voice with this committee, come forward, speak. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'll share that with the other parents. And as I mentioned while I was speaking, a simple, we've heard you, we're talking about it. We're not asking for any sort of breach in confidentiality.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We have another public forum speech? Yes. Please state your name, town.
Sure. My name is Jasmine Roy. I am Hopkinton Town Council member and also a current candidate for District 39. I came here tonight just on a whim, just to say, you know what, let me show my face. Let me say hi. come and check out things. And I'm very, very pleased that I did. So, for the last 3 years, I have been vilified. I have been called all kinds of names. I have been run through the coals just for being a parental rights advocate. The story that I just heard, if I was not vilified or our organization was not vilified and the narrative controlled by people who don't agree with me on certain things, that woman probably could have felt comfortable to come to a parental rights advocate national organization that helps parents deal with problems exactly like this. So I want to restate. Moms for Liberty is dedicated to the survival of America by unifying, educating, and empowering parents to stand up for their parental rights at all levels of government. We are a nonpartisan organization. We are moms, we are dads, we are grandparents. We hold elected officials accountable, even administration. So I encourage everyone to put their bias aside, because I would help you no matter your creed, color, religion, or sexual orientation. So, with that said, I encourage every parent in this district to reach out to me if you have had problems with the administration or the school committee in Charahoe. I would be more than happy to guide you and to help you to defend your right to know what's going on and to have help with your children and their IEPs, and to make sure that they are given the best educational shot that they could possibly get. Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay, thank you all. We're going to close public forum, and we are now moving on to policy. First up is the cell phone policy. This is going to be good. No, yeah.
Okay, so the cell phone policy has existed inside our behavior codes. However, our legal counsel had advised, and the law firm put together a policy that would separate out from the behavior code, so it was very easy for our families to find, especially with the update in the law. So this went through the policy subcommittee, but it was really written by legal and ensured that it matched what we already have in our behavior codes. We've already put into practice much of what the new law has already stated. We have been doing it now. We had the honor pouches at the middle school level, where we have safeguarded the instructional time throughout the day. Where at the high school, the practices continue to be during the instructional day. They're not utilizing them. They have to stow them away. And this maintains the same policy and practices that we have had in place, because we have been sort of pioneers in this. But if there's any questions or comments, happy to answer them. The policy subcommittee did review with a minor change, just to make sure that we said we do follow the law when it comes to search and seizures. We don't, our administrators are not allowed to open up phones and do anything like that. That's been a long-standing law in Rhode Island.
Perfect.
So I make recommendation that the committee approve the cell phone policy as submitted.
So moved. We have a motion and a second to approve the cell phone policy. Any discussion from the committee? Yes, ma'am.
So just to clarify, this is just basically state legislation. Is that correct, Gina? Like the state they devised the broader piece of it, and then said all committees and all school districts. This was like done at the state level, I thought, correct?
There was a revised state law. We've always had the policy, but we've separated. Now we've made it standalone. It still lives in the behavior code as part of that work as consequences, but now it stands alone so that you can easily find just the cell phone policy.
Okay, and there's an option for if, later down the road, as more schools go in other directions and there's more data available, that the school committee or the policy subcommittee would be allowed to make changes to the policy later down the road if necessary, or if they felt like that would be a route that they wanted to take.
Sure. I mean, the first line of defense for any parent would be the school improvement teams, if there's a big change that they're looking for. With Angela Christina here as the new principal, she's well aware of the current practices, and we actually have reviewed all of our behavior data. We've had no concerns around our cell phone use, neither at the middle school or the high school. They've been pretty thoughtful about the policies and practices. When it comes to the policy, the school committee is always able to put any policy directly into the committee, just you request it through the chair. And if a parent has questions or has feedback, they would give it to the school improvement team. And then when we do our reviews, if there's any significant changes to be made, we typically run things like this through legal, and then he advises the school committee.
Okay, and the Yonder pouches, is that something that is, I know that we had initially received a grant for that one. At the elementary school level, cell phones are not allowed at all, correct?
Well, they're not allowed to choose K through 8 at all, and it's not just cell phones. It's also now with the new law, it also includes smart watches, etc.
Okay, so, but for the Yonder pouches though specifically, so through.
Only at the middle school level, we have them.
Okay, so so I can clarify this, there for elementary level, which is currently K through 4, there are no cell phones, and for 5 through 8 right now, it is the Yonder pouches.
If they have a cell phone, they insert it into the Yonder pouch.
Okay, and so with the new elementary school, with the unified school, and the potentiality of 5th grade going back into the elementary school, how would that affect this policy? Wouldn't there need to be like a change, because you wouldn't have a 5th grader that would now need to bring a Yonder pouch, right?
No, because that's a practice. That's not policy. The policy is more about our overarching beliefs and how we run the system. I think what you're talking about is a practice. If our 5th grade, if we wanted them to have Yonder pouches, we could take the grade 5 pouches. If we're looking to put that in the budget, we could. That's something that is always available if that's a need. I know the high school, when we had the grant, they did not want Yonder pouches. Their interpretation and their at the time, the administration and the school improvement team felt as though the practices at the middle school was to teach them how to stow away, just like you would do at work, to ensure that they were building in that skill set as part of their learner qualities. But at the middle school level, being more adolescent, the Yonder pouches was a much better way, especially with the research that shows that it's really students who have cell phones before 8th grade can be a concern.
Okay, and is the Yonder pouches, that grant did that expire already? So now that's part of our
That was
budget, correct?
I can't remember which grant, but it was through one of our RIDE grants we had additional funding that they gave us, and actually we called Mr. Zen and he said, I'll do it now that we have the money.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Rest of the committee? I'm seeing nothing. Yes, ma'am.
Just one clarification. I just want to, what is the high school doing, like during passing time or lunches? I mean, are they allowed to use their phones? Because I
Yes,
thought it was
if they're not
supposed to
in
be
instruction,
stowed for the
law-
whole
yep.
instructional time.
If they're not in instruction right now, and again, Miss Christina being new, the current administration has it where they can utilize their phones at passing time and during lunch.
Okay, because part of the law, I thought, was to encourage students to communicate and interact at those times where they're kind of buried in their phones.
Yeah, it's really instructional time is what the law,
Okay.
yeah. But just school districts across the state are doing different things when it comes to practices. That's typically what we leave the administrators to decide and their student advisory boards based on, but our current data shows really that our high school students are doing very well, and our cell phone concerns have been very minimal in the last couple of years that we've started the practice.
Thank you. Ms. Reynolds?
I know that some districts are calling it bell to bell. Is instructional time bell to bell?
So, right, that's an interesting thing. I think this is where it depends on, I think, the district when you ask for bell to bell, because bell to bell can mean during their classroom time, and then passing is not necessarily bell, because it's not passing time. Obviously, like when we have to do our calendars, RIDE does not consider passing time and or lunchtime instructional. Therefore, they reduce those minutes and only instructional time is constituted. So for example, like our school calendar, when we don't have to make up days, it's because we offer more student instructional time than most districts.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm closing discussion. We have a motion and a second. Let's take it to a vote. Those in favor of the cell phone policy? That is unanimous. Thank you. Next up, we have the academic requirements for graduation policy.
So these are policies that you often see because we're still making sure that we align our policies with the updated graduation requirements. As many of you probably remember, our class of 2028, which are now juniors this year, they are the ones who come in and have the new graduation requirements. This last class, the class of 2027, is the final class with the old graduation requirements. So we still have some updates that we need to make. So what you see in this policy is really more of the alignment back to the regulations so that we are updated. And overall for graduation, then that sort of kicks some changes in the secondary grading. Where we just make sure that our practices are aligning with the current regulations. So I am asking for your, I'm recommending approval of the academic requirements for graduation policy as submitted.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Thank you. This is now before the committee for discussion. Questions? I'll start. Oh, Ed.
I just wondered, the introduction of the formal requirement language, foreign language. What about those students who don't have that capacity to learn a foreign language? Is there, is this a hard and fast requirement?
So we call it world language. So
Accommodation made?
the world languages that we offer, one, I think any child's capable of learning whatever we can do, and we just differentiate. So if that's an opportunity that they want to have, we make sure that we have opportunities. For example, we have a student who does an independent study of American Sign Language as her part of her world language. However, there are some waivers that we do get. Many of our students who are have a significant caseload, parents can waive the world language requirement, but we have a session with the counselor to explain, often colleges, for example, like Providence College, you're not getting in unless you have 3 years of a world language. So students need to understand the decisions that can be made. Our career and tech programs, oftentimes those that want to do 2 certifications will waive the world language so they can take another opportunity. And again, that comes with our counselors being really well informed and ensuring that they give the correct information so that parents can make informed decisions and that students are not left. But the world language is open to all of our students unless they have a waiver, which has to be agreed to by they have to meet the requirements and agreed to by the parent.
Thank you. So I have a problem, and it's the major course assessment section. I don't understand why we are taking away the summative major course assessment portion of this. Testing is important. I think I know it's stressful, but we're seeing now kids going into college that are ill prepared for the rigors of college. And I'm just curious what the administration's thought was behind removing a major course assessment like this.
So just to clarify, we're not removing the summative assessments. We're updating our terms. So those of you that have been around a while may have had a middle schooler that had QCAs, the course assessments, and then high school had MCAs. Our high school students will still have assessments, but naturally upon the time when it happens. So for example, I may be in a English class where my teacher wants to give me a summative presentation or wants to be able to differentiate how they versus a traditional, where it may be very common to see that in more of a chemistry class, for example. So we also have students who have advanced placement. So when you take an advanced placement course, that assessment is higher caliber than any high school assessment would be. So we're not taking away major course assessments. We're just updating language that our teachers have more flexibility around summative assessments, and it can differentiate it. So it can look like a traditional test or not, but that's up to the teachers and the department heads along with the administration to ensure, and basically RIDE calls that the alternative learning opportunities, where students, for example, in Charahoe also have taken independent studies where they actually have more work to do. But in the end, we're just removing the MCAs because we don't have, that was something we utilized prior to the high quality curriculum. And now that we have high quality curriculum in mathematics and in in English, those assessments are already built into the program, and they not necessarily, let's just say, one of the examples I can say is that the teachers will say, well, we have to give them an MCA and they're doing the program assessment, they're gonna pick which one they wanna pay more attention to. So it's a battle of, do we wanna keep assessing? We wanna assess for the purpose of making sure we understand what they're proficient in. So that still is not changing, and the only difference is the teachers have flexibility in how they assess. But that has to come with alignment for the department chair and the admin.
Okay, it was a rational explanation. I appreciate that. I'm rejecting it outright, but not because it's illogical. I like examinations. I think that yeah.
Don't worry, they're still gonna get them.
Well, it seems a bit optional, and I'm not sure I'm in love with that. And I'll just add an anecdotal comment is that the University of California has removed the SATs as a requirement, and they've walked back now, and they're putting it back in because they realize it's a fantastic litmus test for capability in college, and we are not. I think we need to challenge our students, and I think that testing is a great way to do that, and I don't like the optionality of it. So from my position, I'm not going to support this policy as it is currently written, but that's just my 2 cents. It was fantastic. I understand.
Just to clarify, they're still
understand.
gonna have it, it's just we don't call them MCAs.
Okay. Ms. Reynolds.
So I guess my question has somewhat been answered. We talk a lot about rigor, and we talk a lot about preparing kids for college. Will our students still take an examination that will prepare them for a college level examination? Like to prepare for an entire semester's worth of work?
So yes, but it's gonna depend on the class. So for example, 14-year-olds are going into 9th grade.
And I understand. I have a 14-year-old who's going into 9th grade. I worry about exams. I do think, though, by the time they are juniors and seniors, if we are preparing students for college and we are discussing rigor, one of the ways we prepare students for college is by giving them exams in a way that they will see in college so that they have an understanding of how to prepare for said exam. I would prefer, I don't want anybody to fail, but if they're going to struggle and learn how to study, I would prefer that happen in high school
Or we can catch
instead of their freshman year in college.
Correct.
So that's my concern.
That's where you're right. So that, again, just to be clear, our students are taking assessments. A major course assessment, the way it was written, looked very traditional, which can be very typical. But there's opportunities, especially now when AI exists, where sometimes administrators or sometimes teachers like the same test over and over again. So we're not really assessing what they know, we're knowing what their sister may have had or their brother may have had. So it provides an opportunity to ensure that they're going to have to apply learning, not just memorize for a test. So for example, in the state of Rhode Island, if you have an exam week, it's an instructional day. It's not an instructional day, I apologize. It's not an instructional day. So what was happening is, and if you look at our attendance rates at the high school, the MCAs were sort of forcing our teachers into a week of a bucket where it's not logistically something that even made sense. And our attendance after midterms was abysmal this year, abysmal. And that has a lot of factors that go into it. However, what we've also noticed is our advisory opportunities around executive functioning, studying, how do you take notes? Has to be much more robust. So right now we're working with the high school administration and our school counselors to be able to be nationally recognized through what we call RAMP, to be able to ensure that they're not only creating advisory lessons that are doing that work, but also we are measuring their value based on student pre and post tests to ensure that our advisory opportunities are enhancing just what you said, that they're able to handle an assessment, handle executive functioning, how you organize your notes, how you take notes. We have a lot of assumptions sometimes, but this is not about, we're not reducing rigor. This is about opportunities where kids are creating more than they ever have because they're able to apply their learning, not just show that they can remember something. But in the end, the SAT is a good barometer to Ryan's point. That gives us an inkling of how they're doing. But this assessment just allows the flexibility, but then it has to be overseen by the department chair and the admin. This is not an individual teacher deciding on their own. So they have department guidelines, and then they meet with the admins to determine the best course forward as it relates to the assessments. But we have a responsibility by law. We have to give alternatives, even if, for example, students with IEPs may have accommodations for testing, small group instruction, things like that.
Linda.
I'm going to be a stickler. We didn't vote on the graduation requirements. We jumped right to the secondary grading policy. So I don't know if we want to go back.
No, this is academic requirements.
No, it's
section.
academic requirements.
Oh, and there's okay.
Summative demonstration of learning and course proficiency.
Oh, okay, it is. I'm sorry.
It's in both.
It's in both of them.
Wait, they have
Yeah,
lots of
it's
books.
5 and
sorry.
6.
It's 5 and 6.
Page 5 and 6
Sorry.
on this. No, you're
I
good.
thought we jumped over.
No, I appreciate it's possible.
Well,
You never know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I know. But
I'm wild up here.
I guess maybe if the language is just too general.
I agree.
Yeah, so maybe I mean I don't know. And we have a new principal, so maybe we could get some input from. Yeah. So, but that's the only thing I'd be concerned about. Maybe it's a little too general.
Agreed. Understood. Holly, and then I will entertain the comment from the public. So I'll give you a minute.
Former high school math teacher, so rigor is a big deal for me. I also think it's too subjective at this point. I don't feel like we have any leverage on the rigor, whereas the MCAs, at that point, I understand why you're trying to get rid of it you don't want to waste time on midterms and finals. Those aren't instructional days, correct?
Well, it's more about making sure that the teachers have the flexibility to broaden the opportunities, not just to have a sit-down exam during 1 week. Because they still take exams, just not during a midterm and a final. It comes up naturally every 6 to 8 weeks.
Right, but summative exams, it's very again subjective. I can say, I give them a test on unit 1, which I'm just going to be very general, and unit 2, and then I decided to do a summative on units 1 through 4. But some people might just do summative and just say, oh, I gave a summative assessment on unit 1. I just feel it's too. I feel like it does need rigor. It does need to push the kids to study, learn, process that information as a whole, not, individually.
I
So
think
I
we
just-
all agree with you.
So,
I'm not sure that what the policy does is simply just use the term summative versus MCAs, because we have many teachers who are not using the term anymore. So we're just aligning with the current practices.
well, I understand that, but then there's a lot of language describing, it's all red, right? Summative demonstrations of learning and course proficiency. If it was really changing major course assessment to a summative assessment, there wouldn't be this much adjustment. So
If you look, the words are actually the same. It's just that it was more of a just keep it robust. But again, if you look at the language of MCAs, it really is the same language as the summative, just with the language around the academic regs that ride. So when we have students with advanced placement, when we have students with honors, when we have students with college level classes or career and tech certifications, it broadens that horizon, because there are a lot of us, trust me, I'm sure the kids will say, there are a lot of assessments that they're taking. This is to sort of give the umbrella that our kids are being assessed overall, and one time of year is not necessarily what's happening. So it gives that barometer of, I'm going to be assessed, but for example, I can't determine certifications when my kids in auto are going to take the test, right? Because that comes up and they have no choice when to do that. Where if we have an English class and we know how to design that, and their current quality curriculum and their math comes up naturally, the math teachers and the English teachers are saying, well, why would I then do it again in January if I just did it in December? So we're just aligning the timelines.
I do understand what you're saying. I disagree with it. So
That's fine.
that's mainly, I just want to agree with what Member Reynolds said and Mr. Callahan. One other note, it says in here, students participate in summative demonstrations of learning throughout their coursework for advanced placement course, and it's the advanced placement test is their summative assessment. not, so that's assuming, are you assuming that they're going to grade that? Or that's going to be.
We already do that.
So how do they do that? Because they don't get their scores until after. So
practice
how is
tests.
that rolled into the grade other than pass fail?
No, they do. They do get their assessments back. So the AP final, the kids get their assessments back before they leave. Like we get their scores prior. That it's the overall data doesn't come back till the summer.
Okay. But they're being graded on that? So if they got a 4 or a 5, how is
It
that
doesn't. So
translating?
in order for your AP test to count for college level, you have to at minimum receive a 3.
I'm aware of that. But it seems to be implying that it's going to be rolled into their grade for that AP, whatever, say AP Computer Science.
Yep, they take pre-assessments and assessments that will, and I'm happy to once the admin, we give the presentation in November, but the AP exams are very significant, as you know, and they do get, they don't have to take 2 assessments if they receive their 3.
Oh, you're just saying they bypass their whatever, the summative assessment if they pass the.
If they pass with the AP exam, and we also, by the way, this committee's policy is also to pay them back the amount they put out for the AP test.
Okay.
So there's a lot of incentive to get that 3.
But I'm just saying it's not summative, it's not reflected in their grade. So
No,
that might be a grading policy question, but this is way too subjective for
So
me.
what would be helpful for me is just the language that people are looking for, because in the
Yeah.
end, they're still going to be assessed.
I'm gonna have to spend some time figuring out how I'm gonna do that.
That brings up an interesting point. Just in terms of, this is not a vote. You committee members are not voting. I'm polling you. A show of hands, who's planning to vote no on this? Like, I'm a no. I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So the policy
7.
subcommittee, I'm shocked. Laura and Polly, you both said you had no concerns at the policy subcommittee.
But we didn't get into like great detail on it.
So here's, and I'm going to give Polly a chance to speak. What I recommend, we table it, send it back. I don't want to vote this down. A lot of work went into
It
it.
can't happen till next year now, only because you have to be able to start before school. So any changes will have to happen for next year.
It's not going to change practice, though.
No,
No.
Okay. Recommend we table it. Paul, you got a comment on this?
My only comment is the policy subcommittee, we send it to the school committee so we can hear from people who are professionals in it and get their opinion and say, oh, just like sometimes we send things to the public to vote on. It's the
Gotcha.
most democratic way to do it.
I appreciate it. I don't think that the votes are here to move it forward, so I would like whoever made the motion and the second to rescind those.
I think I was the second.
I rescind my motion.
Thank you. I will take a motion to send this back to.
I'll make a
subcommittee.
motion to send it back to the policy subcommittee as long as we can also send it to the new principal to get her input as well.
100%.
well, it goes back to all school improvement teams.
Oh, yeah,
Secondary.
awesome.
I'm sorry, Gina.
Second.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Thank you. Motion and a second. Those in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you all.
Chair, would you entertain moving the stage 2 presentation before the secondary grading based on how long that conversation just took? We have 6 experts.
I'll
sitting
make a
here.
motion to
Well, the
adjust
secondary
the
grading,
agenda.
yeah, goes with academic. I don't think you can do both.
I'm sorry, but what?
Secondary
Table
grading
that.
was aligned to the academic requirements.
To table that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fast. So, because they're I was getting
So,
to.
Chair, I'm going to make a motion to table the secondary grading policy.
We have
Second.
a motion second to table it. Those in favor of tabling? All right, I see. Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Larry, I didn't see your hand. For the policy number 3, we made a motion. Table. You agree? Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. That is unanimous. Now,
Okay.
Slam and Colliers, fantastic. We're on to business A. This is going to be a presentation and discussion on the Unified Elementary School Campus Stage 2 update. There's no vote to be had, but this is the time to engage and ask questions. So I appreciate y'all. And let's hand it over to the Slam and Colliers. Yeah.
Gotta get it rocking really good. Wash yourself out.
Not the rest of it.
I've been there.
Sold her the same stuff.
No, that's not.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, it's been a long day.
It's been a long day.
All right, let's go. So my name is Mark Rhodes. I'm a design principal with SLAM. I'm happy to be here today to present to you all an update of our work to date with our engineering team and with Collier's support, help, and of course with the school administration. Kathy Ellithorpe will be advancing the slides for me because my arms aren't that long. So one of the things we want to quickly do is kind of go through a little bit of an update of where we've been, starting with demographics, which is important because that sets the numbers within RIDE. RIDE has a very precise formula that we have to follow and a lot of guidelines. So a lot of what you're going to see responds directly to what we know in conversations with RIDE and past conversations and current conversations. We heard a lot through the process and tried to listen to what the community was talking about and boiled it down to what we think were three very important points. When we looked at the idea of a unified school, it seemed to everybody that one large school might be a bridge too far for the community. So we really looked at, can we break it down into smaller communities of learning? I think with Jean and her team, we've got a really interesting diagram to show you where it will be located. We do have placed it on a site, which is good news. And we have figured out how the 5th grade could move in from the middle school, which creates some obvious CTE benefit for your middle school as you move forward. When we look at the formula from RIDE, there's a demographic formula that we have to follow. We look 5 years out. So 2031 is the year that we need to look at. So that's 1,202 students. Those of you that have recorded these sessions will know that's 2 students more than the last time we kind of talked about it because we had to go another year. So 2 more students. In pre-K through 1, that's 466 students. In grades 2 through 5, 736 students. So that's 1,202 students total on the site. One of the interesting things that has been a discussion point with a lot of the projects we're working on is the idea of swing space. To build a new school, if you're trying to use an occupied site, sometimes the building's in a way, and if you have to take it down, where do you put those kids while you're building something new? In this case, we figured out a way to leave the existing building in place, build the pre-K through 1 for 466 students. That gives you quite a bit of swing space to then move over, knock down the existing building and rebuild. So I'll show you a site with a lot of lines on it. This is to really show you that we are studying both the programmatic necessity within the district, but also the engineering around this particular site. When we look at a site, no matter where it is in a state or country, we follow a series of engineering guidelines and protocols and design guidelines that are both driven by state and code requirements that we have to follow. So there's been a lot of effort by everybody to really look at this site and figure out how to put 2 buildings on the site in a very artful way that creates a community of learners that takes advantage of that outdoor space opportunity for learning. We'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. When we add a little color to it, just to make it clearer, the yellow box to the middle of the screen, sort of towards the right, is the pre-K through 1st grade school. That's about 50,000 square feet. We're still just finalizing the gross square footage. To the left, in place of the existing building, you can sort of make out a faint outline. That's the existing school. So on that top of that existing school, a new building of about 84,000 gross square feet. Again, a rough round number, just order of magnitude. The pink boxes you see on the site are play areas. They are sort of one in the middle that are between the 2 buildings that they can both get to. And for pre-K through 1, we have requirements by the state that we have to have a certain percentage of play space dedicated to the youngest children in a fenced-in area so those little legs don't run away. So we have to contain them. It's about 75 net square feet per student out at that time. The interesting thing about the site too, we are utilizing the existing entrances and egress points for our road network. So what We've also figured out how to minimize the amount of hard surface that we are providing. We're trying to minimize the amount of trees we cut down. Kathy could probably reach it. The top of the knoll, that's the highest point on the site. We are providing a little bit of parking that goes into the recreation area. That's a bit of overflow. There is existing parking there right now. It's a dirt lot. This just cleans it up and makes it a part of a system of spaces that works better. Bus drop-off would be the top loop. I won't ask Kathy to reach that. She couldn't reach it at 4, so she's not going to reach it now. That's about 20, 22 buses stacked up there at that point. So that's the top of the screen, that loop. The loop, that's kind of a funny shaped P that goes to the pre-K through first grade school. That's a parent drop-off for that school. And we try to get appropriate amount of parking for teachers, administrators next to the school. Parent drop-off for the 2nd through 5th grade happens along the road as well. The way we've designed it and worked with Gina and her staff is you can mix it up. You can decide to do what we're showing, because we have to show something to ride to get them to approve it. But you could just choose to put the buses on a different loop if you chose to. We're trying to give you options for the future to not lock you in, which I think is a really good benefit of good site planning. Kathy. So just to give you an overarching view of what this site could look like, again, because working with RIDE, we're trying to we have to almost more than prove the concept. There's a budget. We have to meet your budget. We have to show RIDE what we're going to get for that budget. The numbers have to match out. So what we're showing in this point right here, this vantage point, an overview of the site, we took the trees out in the middle just so you could see the other building. Otherwise, it would just be a bunch of trees. But you can see the 2nd grade through 5th grade school in the foreground and the pre-K school in the background. And one thing to note, we're building these buildings on top of the landscape. So we're trying not to dig down. We're trying to sit on the landscape. Build out, not dig in. So the school in the back, you'll see it's 1 story on the side that faces us. It's 2 stories on the back side. So we're taking advantage of that natural slope. Same thing happens going from upper right of the screen to the bottom left with the upper school, grades 2 through 5. We got about a 14-foot grade change from the upper right to the bottom. So we just take advantage of that natural grade. We're going to talk first about planning for the pre-K through 1. So we have spent a lot of time kind of figuring out how to develop pods around expanded learning environments. So there's a ring of classrooms or support space in blue around a central expanded learning zone. That happens, these are 8-track schools, which means there are 8 classrooms per grade typically. The green box on the left is the cafeteria for the grade range. This is the upper level. So this would be right now where we're showing the parent drop-off. You come in through the doors on the left, towards the left middle of the screen. Elevator right there. The benefit of the way the site works, you'll notice there are no internal egress stairs except for one on the end, which may or may not be there in the end on the left. There's effectively 2 first floors. There's an upper level you can get out of grade and a lower level you can get out of grade. That's kind of a wonderful aspect of a building for the smallest children. Go next. This is what that lower level looks like. So you'll see where that dark black line is, where the expanded learning space is. There are classrooms that dump straight out to the protected play area. To the bottom of the screen, there are no classrooms because that's where the hill is. So we avoid that. This section, I may have to ask Kathy to stand a little bit to explain this. So on the right-hand side is where the parent drop-off are the first grade classrooms, 1 story. On the lower level, it's 2 stories of classrooms. That one exits out of grade and 1 stacked above it. So you have that kind of walkout basement feel. So it's full daylight to the left. Take advantage of the slope on the right. Just a few views, character views. Beautiful fall day, as we kind of talked about earlier, which could use a little fall day here. It's a little warm. And we can just go through these, Kathy. These just kind of go around the building. Again, we've taken some trees out, not because we're going to, just for visual so you could see what's going on. Protected play to the left, fenced in area. This is that 2-story. So that lower level does walk out. Light monitors bring natural light into the expanded learning areas. So now we'll talk about 2 through 5, which is built on the footprint basically of the existing school. We take it down, take the foundations out, we put a new building in place right in that spot. And this shows the same sort of working with the slope. So there's about a 14-foot drop from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. And you can see how we have the building on the upper right continue as 2 stories. Then it drops down and we slide a little piece underneath. Again, we're just taking advantage of the natural topography and not carving in. Just from the other direction. The gym is off to the right, little courtyard space, and that piece that slides in underneath. As we look at this is that lower level. So parents in our diagram would drop off at the top. Buses would come in by the gym on the right. Cafeteria is the blue space in the middle, expanded learning. The idea is you could bring CTE to the grade level. Those red boxes or red diagrams space allow that to happen. Direct access to the cafeteria, direct access to the outside. We'll be cooking in this kitchen. The smaller school will have a warming kitchen. So we'll be able to transport food to the warming kitchen from a central location here. The upper level is going to look very familiar. To the lower level, very similar. We have the media center across the top as a bridge between the 2 grades. You could set this up in the house-based system, which is by grade, or you could mix the grades. However you wish, there's some opportunity here to set that up. And just a few character views. This is the entry, parent drop-off on the right, nice and orderly. Nobody's queuing. On the left would be the bus drop-off, low left. And you can sort of see how these buildings relate in the site. There's just some great natural slope that's there that we're able to take advantage of. That's the kitchen, that lower box on the middle of the screen. What's interesting to me is we start to look, this is a view from one of the stairs or classrooms from the 2 through 5 grades. Looking back to the smaller school, there's this wonderful opportunity to have a dialogue between the 2 schools. Say I'm the older brother or sister, I'm in this school, and my younger brother or sister's in the other school. I have this sort of direct mental connection, visual connection between the 2. And the outdoor learning environment is going to be absolutely tremendous. Sully's got to get rid of all those leaves, though. That's kind of where we are. There's been months and many, many hours of engineering and design and study to get us this point. We're happy to be at this point. We're going to be ready to submit in September. That's kind of where we're at.
Fantastic, thank you. I did not see any images of kids sledding, and some of those hills are definitely going to be sledding opportunities. Thanks, Mark. Great presentation. Thank you. Fantastic. I'm opening this up for discussion, both to the school committee as well as the public. Yes, ma'am.
Who is naming this school? I've seen a couple different Charahoe Unified. That one was, I don't like that because it boils down to the CIA. Charahoe Innovators Academy. I'm sorry, I don't
That's
like
not the, it's just the Charahoe Regional Elementary School.
Okay, that I like.
They're
Honestly.
sort of making it,
Okay.
internally we talk about our academies because it's one school,
Yeah.
but
you
it's
not?
2 structures.
Right.
like that.
This is a dialogue with RIDE to get them to understand the difference between the 2 schools. It's strictly just an architectural naming convention.
Okay.
You all will decide what it's called. I don't assign offices and I don't choose names for schools.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and actually, in a regional district, it's often good just to say Charahoe Regional Elementary School. We already have a code for pre-K that's already a separate school. Many of you saw that in the budget because it says Hope Valley Annex. Now we just call it the Charahoe Regional Pre-K.
Okay. Any questions from the school committee?
We had a presentation earlier, so.
Just, yeah, we're assessing met first.
Fantastic. Jessica.
I would just say, to say it out loud in this public meeting, that the vote in Charlestown on August 4th did pass. That was a vote to allow the town and the school district to enter new lease agreements for the property that Charlestown Elementary School is currently located on, which also includes the demolition of that building shall if the bond passes in November. So just
Thank you for saying
to state that as part of the
Thank you.
ongoing timeline.
That's a good point. Thank you. Laura?
When you say that you're going to be demoing the existing school,
Mm-hmm.
is you're just going down to the foundation, or you're actually digging that out?
We'll take the foundation out.
You will, okay. Is that, so how do you guys test for the soil that's underneath the foundation, like to know whether if it's suitable
That'll have to happen after you dig the foundation, because there's almost no way to do it
prior
also
to it?
prior, because it's underneath.
Okay.
We do have a whole environmental protocol that will have to be followed, that is dictated by RIDEM, which is,
Right,
we
the
won't get out
DM.
of. So
Right.
that's a stage 3, big in-depth thing that happens.
Okay. And can you also just clarify that this is for right now, the part that you're at as far as the design is concerned, this is all just conceptual design, and what's kind of the phases that you guys go through?
Yeah, so the way the state of Rhode Island works is you have done a stage 1, which allows for a stage 2, which is effectively a master plan for your district on a particular, we've done it where it's all district, all schools. This is really around your elementary school and taking 3 and converting it into 1. That stage 2 represents about 20% of the work an architect and design team, OPM, engineering team would go through to get through biddable documents that somebody could then bid and build. The next phase, they group them together, stage 3 and 4. Stage 3 is the design completion of those documents. So going from concept level to fully engineered, designed, stamped. So I put my life on the line at that point, or whoever gets to stamp those drawings. Then stage 4 is about furniture and equipment. It's often forgotten, but that's an important piece that RIDE funds that you get reimbursed on. That comes together with stage 3, but has to happen.
And in Char Ho, just to clarify again for the public, stage 3 and stage 4 would be represented by our building committee. The school committee then, because of the Char Ho Act, will no longer get information coming directly to you to make decisions. It goes directly to the building committee. Stage 3 and 4. That's different for us than most districts.
Right, I was just curious when your drawings are where those kind of become more finite, because right now, with it only being 20% through that process, it's more of like a rough draft, basically.
It's a rough draft, but in your district's case, because of the issues around site in general, we've gone above and beyond. We've looked at extensive engineering reports. We've looked at more than we typically would in a stage 2 that's required by the state. But it's important, it's prudent to do that, because we are signing our name to the state, that it can be done for the money that we say with our team it can be done for. So that's what's really important.
An easy way for the public to understand is it's a proof of concept. We have to show RIDE that we have a design that would work on this property.
Thank you. Let's take a member of the public. Yes, sir. Please state your name and town.
Andrew McCoy, Richmond. I just wanted to check for the schools that are being built, are they full HVAC or do they just have heat? Do they have air conditioning as well? Full up. Just checking.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's a good question. Any other questions? Anything from? Yes, sir.
Simon Manlove, Hopkinton. A question for the design team. From the academic and use perspective, and then also from the architectural perspective, what is the anticipated amount of transfer you have of personnel, either staff or students, between the two buildings, and what physical layout and path structure do you have to accommodate that?
Again, I won't talk about staff. I'll leave that to you all to handle. But in terms of the movement of students, there probably likely isn't a lot of movement for pre-K students in particular and kindergartners. Some are there half day. You might have full day by the time this gets built.
No, we have full day.
You have how many? Like 1, I think, right now?
No, all our kindergarten is
All the
full day.
kindergartens full day. Yeah, pre-K's
Pre-K is
the
half
option.
day.
What ends up happening is there is a at-level or handicap accessible way to get from the same level of the school to the same level of the school, whether you're on the upper side or the lower side. Say you want to bring the first graders to use the gym in the 2 through 5 school. You have that opportunity. Nothing stops that from happening. In terms of staff, what we have found is that as districts have pressure across the region, not just you, staff is moving around more and more. You know, you could have, like in Johnston, they are unfortunately in a suitcase, right? They're kind of moving from space to space, from school to school, just because they just don't have the funds to do what they feel they should do. So they're trying to get creative. All of these facilities, and working with RIDE and working with Gina and her professional staff, accommodate those kinds of spaces that could be temporary hoteling or permanent spaces. We give you flexibility. We're not here to assign it. We're just here to create the opportunity in the program that allows you to staff the facility appropriately for your education goals.
Thank you. Any further? Yes, sir.
Greg Abadesian, Hopkinton. At what stage or when will the building committee be formed?
So we already have permission from the district financial meeting to move forward. So what will happen is I will send a letter to the town councils in November, letting them know that the election is, you know, this date. Please, once your town council is all certified, sworn in, you know, please place on your agenda the selection of the building committee. So I know Charlestown, for example, has like a 30-day waiting period. I believe Hopkinton and Richmond can do it quickly. They don't have something specific in their charter, but they will all give a notice. I will just send out a reminder that when everyone is certified through the Board of Elections and their Board of Canvassers, that the councils need to put it on their agenda to appoint. It's same with the school committee, they'll appoint, depending on the certification. Typically, it happens in December. For example, one of the elections, the certification, because of mail-ins and things like that, took longer. So it didn't get certified till the end of November. And then we get the members who go to get their certification. And once everyone is seated, we would ask the committee to make a vote, one per town for the school committee, and then each town council selects 3.
So this is pending approval, sorry.
Right, so the town councils get to select, and it'll happen after the November election.
Right, so pending approval of the bond.
Correct.
And I know I had one more question that came to mind.
That's a good question.
I'm sure I'll remember it as soon as I get into my car.
That's what it always happens, I get it.
Okay, well, then I appreciate y'all, and thank you for staying so late. Thank you for the presentation.
You guys are
Absolutely
with me all
beautiful
day.
flags. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, you remember?
So given that timetable of appointing the committee, will that delay at all the ability for the district or will we still be able to make that 5-year?
Yes. That's why we actually, we tried to preempt it with the district financial meeting this year, so we were ready to be able to make that conversation. So like Charleston could put their 30 days out prior to the election happening.
Thank you, and thank you. And I was notified that there is a 3D model up here on the table.
It's the beginning of it.
Are we,
Beginning of
we
it.
get to keep that? That's ours?
No, they're gonna
No.
keep building on it. They're gonna keep making more and more for us.
They didn't put any trees on
Are
it.
we gonna put trains on it? I don't.
And trees.
No trains.
Based a little more, I'm afraid if somebody were to pick it up, it might,
Okay,
so, it needs a little more TLC before it's ready to be.
This is the first stage.
gotcha. Stage 1. Thank you, appreciate it. All right. All right, folks, we're going to move on. Thank you. That was business A. We are moving on to B. This is a vote on the NEA Educational Support Professional ESB tentative agreement.
I am recommending approval of the agreement, and I defer to Chair Karen Reynolds.
So moved.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. This is before the committee. Ms. Reynolds, the
Thanks.
floor is yours.
So I'm going to start with, this contract would not be possible without all those that dedicated time, an open mind, and willingness to compromise. So I'd like to thank all involved. A special thank you to Jessica Hall for representing the ESP staff. And I noticed many ESP staff in the audience, and I want to say thank you so much. We had approximately 14 meetings, some better than others, but we made it through. We worked through important language to make the contract a strong, usable document. We clarified and updated some much-needed language. We had a lengthy and in-depth discussion along the lines of salary and healthcare, two very important topics for all involved. We finalized with a 2.75 increase for the first year, 3.4% increase for the second year, 3.3 for the third year, with a total of a 9.5% increase over 3 years. We had an in-depth discussion about healthcare and moving from the traditional healthcare plan to an HSA plan. The union and the school committee agreed on moving all members to HSA within the 3-year contract. While this may not save the district money, it will provide the employees with additional monies in their wallets, pocketbooks, and direct control over their healthcare dollars. And I recommend that we approve.
Thank you. And thank the subcommittee for the hard work you've done. You kept the full committee, up to date, and we appreciate the hard work.
It would not have been possible without Mr. Zenyon and Miss Merritt, honestly. Greatly appreciate all their time and effort put into this.
Oh, yeah, look at that. People forget how much our staff put in overtime that is never accounted for, but directly benefits this district. It's shocking, and
it was a lot.
That's a great call out, and yeah.
Greatly appreciate the spreadsheet for the healthcare. That was.
That's their favorite.
So I'm going to open this up. We have a motion and a second before this committee. This is open for discussion. Does any committee member have any questions or comments? Then I am going to close discussion and move this to a vote. Those in favor? Thank you all. It's unanimous. And thank everybody for the hard work that it took to get us to this point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Business C, this is a discussion and vote to create a subcommittee for review of computer usage in grades K through 4. We've already discussed this, so I would like a motion to create a subcommittee for review of computer usage in grades K through 4.
I make a motion to form a subcommittee. Sorry, to form a subcommittee for the creation of the Chromebooks for K through 4.
We have a motion. We have a motion in a second. Fantastic. Thank you. This is open for discussion. Like I said, we've actually talked about this a couple of times, but
Right.
if Ms. Purcell.
Even though we discussed it.
Oh, that's fine.
So personally, I think that the issue of the area of tech use among students in grades K through 4 has been carefully considered by the administration and the teachers. And we've also seen a focus over the last couple of years to regulate use of personal devices which interfere with learning, including the new standalone cell phone policy, which is another step regarding students and tech use. Some of the concerns, as I mentioned before, but are about non-educational software and apps that are available on Chromebooks. And I just want us to be cautious about conflating screen time with educational resources. And again, I empathize with parents about the duty of setting screen time boundaries with kids because it's a daily struggle and it's not easy. I also understand that some parents and community members are looking for reassurance that young kids are learning to read and write without distraction from a device in the classroom, which I understand and agree with. As I mentioned at the last meeting, I hope we can build a foundational understanding that prioritizes data as the main focus. When one-to-one tech was implemented, there was a fact sheet or an FAQ, and it said that the assistant superintendent and technology fellows would facilitate the development of a comprehensive assessment strategy. Dr. Camilla is not here, but it did say that items to be studied will include student performance, student discipline and attendance, student motivation and engagement, personalization of instruction, teacher and administrator assessment of outcome attainment, and student and teacher satisfaction. I think these are all really good data-driven points that should be considered if this is taken up. In that same document, I found that the decision to go one-to-one was guided by a group of 38 parents, students, educators, administrators, and community members. In my mind, in my opinion, my strong opinion, I think that's the type of group we need for continued consideration of our district-wide practices, which is why I think that a joint sit meeting, which was brought up last time as well, is the best path forward. This is a group that's not contingent upon the upcoming November election, which will determine 8 out of 12 seats on this board. One possible idea to get started would be for a joint sit review of the responsible use of technology policy, which has been updated since 2015, and could use some language around artificial intelligence, in my opinion. This type of multi-school, multi-stakeholder meeting would be beneficial to having consistent procedures and practices across the elementary schools. So while I appreciate the concern of the school committee, I don't think a subcommittee of this committee is the right way forward to have this discussion. I think we need a bigger group of multiple stakeholders.
Yeah. Interesting. Well said. So I saw Laura and then Karen. Okay.
So I just want to kind of reiterate, I know that we've sort of belabored this a little bit, but the intention behind setting up a Chromebook subcommittee that would look at these type of things is, you know, this is really something that has been brought forth by many, many parents, educators as well, that have, you know, basically started to see the effects of when COVID happened and the one-to-one technology was just thrust into every child's hands and everybody had to have Chromebooks. Having, you know, more stringent guidelines and some oversight, I think, on the Chromebooks for elementary students in particular. You know, there's many parents who don't agree with the fact that their kids have to bring their Chromebooks home, you know, for any reason. There's some parents who don't think they should have them at all. There's some parents who think, you know, that it can be useful if it's very limited. But the large majority, at least from what I've heard, you know, from people who have spoken to me about this issue or reached out to me about this issue, is that they definitely feel that the analog learning is more beneficial to their children. With that being said, you know, there's a lot of research that's starting to come to the forefront right now that's showing that an analog first approach to education provides more than essential types of development, both cognitively, long-term benefits, and that they're significant for our kids. I also think that it's important to note that there's schools across the country, including a lot of schools in California, that are switching to more of a low-tech model for their younger students. And it's more about being purposeful about how that works and, you know, looking at this from the bigger picture. There's a large majority of private and parochial schools do analog learning. They don't actually, you know, highlight the tech learning. And one of them, I think, is the Waldorf school in Santa Barbara, which is where, you know, noted tech executives actually send their children to school and they don't use any technology in their schools. Just pointing that out. But I understand that the technology is integrated into our systems at this point, and it would be, and it's a heavy lift to try to just remove it. And that's not the intention that I'm coming at this from at all. I just, you know, I think that we should know that how many hours are being spent utilizing the, you know, the Chromebooks. I think that that's a report that can probably be generated pretty easily by the IT team. I think that we should have insight from parents, students, and not necessarily students at the elementary school level, but administrators, you know, all across the board, educators. I mean, everybody should be involved in this process, because at the end of the day, we want what is best for our kids, and we want what is going to be best for them as they grow into adults. And I think that's really my priority on all of this. It's not to make anything more difficult for teachers, which is why their voices are going to be extremely important in this process from my perspective. So that's really the intention behind it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Ms. Reynolds and then Ms. Purcell.
Can I ask Member Purcell a question?
Yeah.
Do
Well,
you know when that committee met with the parents and the teachers to create?
That document I found is from when they implemented the policy, which was pre-2016.
Yeah, very rich.
It was, I'm not sure the exact date, it might have it on the bottom of it.
Yes, I know Sean Cole, the technology plan has to be updated and some of the conversation around not just the responsibilities of technology, but we have a lot of conversations and we have updated different policies around technology use. But in the end, you're not going to see kindergarten. And so to Laura's point, it's easy to pull that data. You don't see kindergarten and first graders on Chromebooks very often at all. Their assessments are done face to face, and you start to see it in second grade because they have to prepare for the state assessment, which, as you know, many people here are saying they want to hold us accountable to that one data point. But in the end, if you don't know how to use it, now we're testing their ability to use a Chromebook, not their ability of how they can do math and writing. So it's a double-edged sword. But I do think our teachers are really cognizant about the Chromebooks, especially at our youngest learners. But I know we have some teachers in the room. But in the end, I think getting information is always helpful to make sure if it puts people's mind at ease, I think it's great. Because I think some of the reports are easy to pull. But to Member Purcell's point, I think this is a school improvement team, but I didn't hear Laura say that it wasn't. I think what you're saying is you just want some more facts and information to make sure that we can say to parents, we hear you, we understand, and we also are trying to balance the use of technology to ensure it's a tool, not the main vehicle.
thanks for the comments. Does that satisfy you?
I'm just wondering if a sit committee is the more appropriate avenue for this, and we are all available to be on a sit committee to help drive this or to ask questions to look for the necessary feedback. My concern about setting up another subcommittee, I've seen it a few times on the building committee, is not having enough individuals there to form a quorum. So it becomes more frustrating to be on a committee on a subcommittee when people don't show up.
Agreed. Ms. Purcell.
I just wanted to follow up, and I agree with what Laura says, Ms. Chapman says her intent is. That's not my issue. But some of the ways that she speaks about it is what my issue is that if we don't have the perspectives of many, many parents, of many, many educators, and we say things like children need an analog education, I just worry that we're giving the impression that our kids in kindergarten are not getting an analog education, and that's false. They do use Chromebooks for some situations, but the majority of their time is not spent on Chromebooks. So I get sort of like defensive when I hear statements that I don't feel portray the accurate representation of what's happening in our classroom. While I also can agree with the concerns and the intent of studying technology, I just worry that without the right stakeholders in the room, we're not going to get the full perspective and the expertise that we need to really do positive work.
Understood. Thank you. Ms. Chapman.
I just wanted to also, I don't know if all the committee members that are sitting now were here at this meeting, but Dr. Camella was actually he was one of the administrators who recommended that a formation of a subcommittee would be more beneficial than to, I think it was, I'm trying to remember which meeting it was. I think it was April or March or something, where this was discussed, because there's also financial implications to all of this as well, which is another piece of it that the SIT team necessarily wouldn't really, they wouldn't, I don't think that would really be their lift. So I really felt that Dr. Camella's advice of doing a subcommittee that would be able to sort of tackle this and bring his expertise and how all the data kind of goes together, and, also allowing the parents to come and speak and things like that. I felt like, I'm siding with his recommendation on this because, he understands the administrative aspect of it and what's happening within the schools. I also understand the point that we don't necessarily have, the issues with the quorum and things like that, but I do think that that forming a subcommittee kind of formalizes it in a way where, okay, now we can like look at this a little bit more fine-tuned and all work together in that aspect across all of the places.
I gotcha. Thanks. So I will say, just to interject here, so when we talked about this, and we've talked about it 2 other times, thanks to me, but when we did talk about it and we kind of discussed it, Mike, I don't recall him recommending it, to be honest, but so I don't want to put words in his mouth. He wasn't opposed to it, though. I think that he was favorable of collecting data and making informed decisions. And we do that in a number of ways today, sit teams and so on and so forth. As a committee member, you know, I take a little bit of a different view of it. I think that there are mechanisms already in place in the district where this topic could possibly be tackled. I do not think that there is a focused place already established in this district where this topic will be tackled, right? Where parents and administrators specifically take a step back and look at our plan. Hey, it's been 10 years on. What do we do now? So I'm personally in favor of it. I'm personally in favor for a number of reasons. I believe in the reflection and looking at where we are, and it makes sense to do it. I'm also in favor of it simply because if an elected official wants to create a subcommittee to specifically champion a cause, they're the representative and they should be given the opportunity to do so. You all get to vote whether or not you agree. And no matter what happens in a subcommittee, the full committee publicly will make final decisions on how things are done and deployed so that we can be held accountable for those decisions. So from my standpoint, I'm in favor, but I very much appreciate the comments that were made, especially by you, Ms. Purcell. So I saw Polly's hand and Linda's, but Linda, you were first, then Polly, then Ms. Pulia.
I'm just going to add to what the chair said. Oh, wait, did you say?
Yeah, sorry, I called her first.
I guess I'm still wrestling with the idea of a subcommittee. So we would file subcommittee rules. It'd be Open Meetings Act. We would have to have a quorum. I'm going through, you know, I'm wondering, will it be a subcommittee that's like just ad hoc, like just for a specific reason, or would it be you know, like we have certain subcommittees that are there, you know, forever, you know.
This is actually a narrowly defined subcommittee.
Oh, okay, that's what I mentioned that the last meeting too. Like, you know, I would be okay with it if it was narrowly defined and, you know, what are the goals going to be?
Yeah.
Because, again, I agree with you. I'm not against, I like Jessica's ideas, but I would want the stakeholders to have a voice in it. Like, because even as much as I appreciate everybody on this committee and we all have different backgrounds and experiences, we're not experts. I mean, I wouldn't profess to be an expert in the use of computers, and, you know, I would want to know more information and be able to assess, you know, the data and be able to make some informed decisions. But I would want to talk to, you know, people who use it every day, like educators and administrators. And even I disagree with the idea that, yeah, you can talk to a third grader. They'll tell you. You know, I think, who said right? I mean, so I think students, you know, I don't know how you want to poll students or how you want to get their feedback or information, but kids today are pretty savvy. And I think, you know, getting their feedback about the use of computers, and they'll be honest with you, most of them. So it'd be interesting to see their perspective, you know, not just.
Agreed. And before we jump to Polly and then Ms. Pulia, I will say that a lot of fantastic points would have been made. And that would make a great volunteer for a subcommittee if it were to be created. Ms. Hopkins.
I just wanted to make a point, and it kind of added to what you were saying. A school committee member brought this up. The SIT team didn't. We've been talking about this for a while. Has any of the school improvement teams come to any of us and said, hey, we're interested in this subject? It would almost be, if you're wishing for the school improvement team, we would have to task it upon them. I don't want to do that. We brought this here. We want a school committee, subcommittee for this because this is what we're passionate about. So the school improvement team is welcome to attend and to participate. Every single, Richmond, Charlestown, and Ashway. Feel free, but I have not heard from any school improvement team members that this is a topic that they want to take on.
Point taken. Thank you. Ms. Boyd.
As far as it being a subcommittee, there's no reason why any parent or any educator couldn't come to the subcommittee meetings.
100%. There's nothing that we are going to do in the shadows. It's transparent.
Right.
It has to comply with the OMA, all that. Yes, ma'am.
They just can't be voting members.
No, but they can,
Of the subcommittee. Us,
voice
you're
their
a voting member
opinions,
of
but
the
not a voting
subcommittee.
member, but they can validate
Yes,
their,
for sure.
yeah, but even their opinion or bringing something to light may change someone's mind who is a voting member.
Fair point. Ed?
Yeah, I'm all set.
The point that you just made with respect to the bounds of this subcommittee, can you talk about what they are? Have they already been set, or are they yet to be
Yeah,
determined?
so the subcommittee is actually, it's defined in its motion itself, and it's actually to review the use of Chromebooks in K through 4. That was the motion that was made. I might
Understood.
not have gotten exactly worded, but Angela, did I get it close enough?
That's exactly how it's written. Discussion and vote to create a subcommittee for review of computer usage in grades K through 4.
Yeah, but Laura changed it, not computer usage, Chromebook usage.
You said Chromebook specifically.
Yeah, I also was wondering, I was wondering also, because I think originally my original motion was K through 6. Just pointing that out. I hope that doesn't deter the,
Not tonight, though.
what's that?
Not the motion this evening.
The motion this evening is K through 4, though.
I noticed that,
Oh.
and I'm just saying my one previously was not. That's why I was a little, but
Okay.
it's fine, and
I'm happy
we'll
to-
just get there. Not a big deal.
Okay.
Just pointing it out.
So, I'm sorry, so Ed, does that answer your question in terms of narrowly defined? Now,
Right, it's not. It's, okay.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
limited
that
to
there was some,
Chromebook
I thought
use.
there was something was circumscribing what the subcommittee was going to be allowed to do. But I misunderstood. This answers my question.
Okay. Ms. Hopkins?
What if we amended it to K through 6, which would give it a bigger umbrella, and it doesn't necessarily mean we need to go up to 6th grade? Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm trying to talk.
I hear you.
We can always, say, hey, go up to grade 4, but it gives us more room to explore. Because in my
yeah,
personal
I hear you.
recognition, I've seen it up to grade 6. That was my concern.
Okay, so let me ask, John, can I ask you a quick question?
Can I ask a question first, Chair?
Mr. Luzon?
Our agenda told the public we were going to be discussing
K through 4. That's the point I was going to make. So, John, on our agenda this evening, we have it listed as discussion and vote to create a subcommittee for review of computer usage in grades K through 4. Would we be allowed to amend the motion to create that subcommittee from K through 4 to K through 6? I'm sorry?
No.
Thank you. So the motion that's been made and seconded is still in play. We're not entertaining adjustments to K through 6. Further discussion. Holly.
Okay. Reverb. So I think Dr. Camilla was definitely in favor of getting data. Okay, and the best way to get that data, I'm not sure. The subcommittee might have to ask the questions. What is the best way? The SIT team may be a resource for this subcommittee. So it's, I feel like if it's very important and it's a passion, then we could form the subcommittee, and where the subcommittee gets the data from we'll find the best way given the resources that we have. The SIT team might be the best way. Maybe IT can help us, etc. last meeting, we did talk about stakeholders like teachers and parents and all that. But if we're going to start with the data, then I don't think it would hurt if the committee decided later that we would like to recommend that we expand the scope of the committee at a future time, and just say
Agreed.
we'd like to make it K through 6. So it's a starting point. It's a place to begin, and it can start there. And as long as we're going at this to review the data and be reflective about it, I'm 100% for it. I don't want to go at this as a negative and saying we're doing everything wrong. I want us to determine what we're doing, understand it, understand what we have to do by state because of state testing and whatnot. And then maybe some recommendations can come out of the subcommittee, and the subcommittee can end or expand a little bit. But I mean, I think where we are right now, it's a start. Let's see where it goes.
Thank you. Points well made. All right, folks, we've chewed on this one quite a bit. I think just kind of reading the room, people have made a decision on where they're going to go. So unless there's any final, all right, folks, we have a motion and a second. This is to create a subcommittee for review of Chromebook usage in grades K through 4. Those in favor? That is unanimous. Yes, ma'am. And actually, I do want to say, I like adversarial meetings. I like the adversarial debate. It's very important. You will get to how you really feel about it. So I appreciate all of you leaning in. Appreciate the thoughtful comments from folks here. So thank you all for that. All right, we are done with business, folks. Wait, oh no, I'm sorry. Now we gotta assign people to it. I thought I was done.
Almost.
All right, folks. Those of you who made fantastic comments, who would like to be on this subcommittee? Laura, absolutely. So we have 5. So I just want to see how many hands up. So we've got
7.
You can't have 7, folks. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm sorry. Oh, hold on. Did you put your hand down? You didn't ever have it up. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So I'm looking at 5 hands up. Is this 6?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You can have 6. You can't have 7. Okay. Thank you. All right. So I will take a motion to appoint Ed Lowe, Laura Chapman, Holly Eves, Patricia Pouliot, Karen Reynolds, and Diane Teft to the Chromebook subcommittee. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Those in favor? It's unanimous. Congratulations, folks.
Mr. Lazar did vote.
I'm sorry. We have almost unanimous and 1 abstention. I apologize, Greg. I went too fast on that. Okay. Thank you. Now we are done with business and we're moving on to consent agenda. Who needs what polled? Polly?
I think we pull F1.
F1. Anything else?
Please and thank you.
Ed?
May we pull payment review report July 16, 2026?
Can you give me a
Number.
letter, number? What am I looking at?
Is it item B, the bill review?
Bills review, payment review.
Oh, it's in B? All right, we'll pull the bills.
I'm just making sure.
I guess it's in the bill review.
Yes, correct.
I simply copied it out of,
Yeah, is it the budget? I just want to make sure it's not the budget transfers and reports.
It's B.
It's okay, that's.
Thanks. All right, we've got bills review pulled and we've got F1 pulled. Anything else?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Seeing there's nothing else, I make a motion to move the remainder, but before I do, I would like to acknowledge the donation from the Richmond Elementary School PTO and Richmond Elementary School Garden Club received significant donation of seeds from the local Ace Hardware store. We thank them for their support.
Fantastic. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have motion and second. Those in favor of the consent agenda items? Thank you. That is unanimous.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
I would like to make a motion to approve B, bill review.
All right. Do I have-
Second.
Thank you, Polly. We have a motion and a second to approve the bill review. Discussion. Ed?
Under the payment review report dated July 16, 2026, on page 1 of 4, there's a number of items, technology hardware, one-on-one, for 5 different schools: Charlestown, Richmond, Ashaway, the middle school, and the high school. My question is this the implementation of the purchase of Chromebooks for the elementary schools, and then a refresh for the middle school and high school, or what is this purchase for?
I would have to go back. I had to get the detail.
Yeah, so you're looking at the vendor name is Dell Marketing LP, and you're looking at the account descriptions, technology hardware 1-to-1.
Yes, it is.
And then the subtotals are listed, and then the total is 229,000.
Correct.
Okay,
Oh.
that's what you're looking at. If there's
Go
any,
ahead.
That's the cycle when we upgrade. So at certain grades, we give students new computers.
When they're 6 years old.
So and one of those cycles we actually pushed out an extra year because the Chromebooks they've been holding up longer than they have in the past. So you budget for that, you approve that, and then we purchase them.
Correct.
Yeah, this is should not be a surprise to anyone in this committee.
My next question is, the next line down, under effective school solutions total,
yeah,
the quantity of 154,000 and change. Can we talk a little bit about what this is for? And I wondered why, how is this on the revenue side? How do we,
It's grant money.
grant money? What is this for?
it says contracted therapists.
Yep, actually, the school committee has approved the contract for Effective School Solutions. We utilize them for a lot of our trainings, professional development. We also had clinical staff come in to work with our families and our students. This is through a grant. That's why it's on the revenue side, because it's not coming from the operating budget.
I understand. If we go to page 4 of 4 of that same payment review report, the rental of equipment and vehicles for the various buildings, can we just, what is that for? How are those vehicles used are those for professionals to travel between buildings?
The rentals.
Wells Fargo leasing?
We audit the truck to get our equipment to graduation. You know what the rental of why we would rent a truck?
No, it's individual leasing through Wells Fargo Financial Leasing, rental of equipment and vehicles, and it's for the various buildings. It's broken out by various buildings. It's very small amounts. I was just wondering, what are we renting? What do we rent?
It's not technically rental. So what you're looking at is the purchase orders go directly to the schools because, for example, they all if they have a van if Cali uses the van and not the high school, it has to get charged to the correct account. But it could be when we had the snow plows, that we would have to rent equipment because our equipment doesn't always work.
So one of our biggest rentals is anytime we if you look in this room, we can't reach the ceiling, so we have to
The cherry
rent
picker comes
a
in.
lift. So if you rent a lift and when we do it, we try to spread it out where we're going to use that lift in 3 or hopefully 4 buildings in one day, and then we spread it out so the middle school doesn't get the whole bill.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we were to move to the payment review report of July 30th, excuse me, you just answered that question. the contracted therapists. It's a redundant payment, so I withdraw my question on that. If we were to move to the payment review report for August 13th, 2026, on page 4 of 7, there's a vendor called Northeast Water Solutions. And I just wondered, what is that payment for?
We are a public water source.
Yep.
So we are a public water drinking source. And in order to do that, you have to test your water monthly and make sure that it is safe to
Thank
be
you.
drank. So
Thank you
that
very
is the
much.
company that we use.
That was all.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, motion second is on the table. Closing discussions. Those in favor of bills? I see every hand up. That's unanimous. Thank you all.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
make a motion to approve F1, quote for website for Unified Elementary School campus information and updates.
We have a motion and a second. All right, this is open. Who called that one? Polly?
I did.
Yep.
I'll claim it. I don't think we need it. I think that was a fantastic presentation, and I don't think we should put more weight onto one project than another. We didn't do that for the middle school and high school bond that we just had. We didn't get a special website. It's a public school. I just don't, I'm not good with that. So I just wanted to make my feelings known.
Okay. I'm gonna go Diane, Laura, Larry. Yeah.
So I guess my opinion on this would be that, you know, we have an FYI section in our already existing Charo website. So if there is information that needs to be distributed to people, the community, anybody can access information that they're looking for on just about anything. So I look at it as being redundant to create another website for the same information you could more than likely find on the already existing website.
Thank you. Laura?
So that, the money for this, where does this come, because this wouldn't have been in the budget, right? Greg?
This comes
No.
from the project dollars, so it would be part of the operating budget to be able to support. You could get reimbursed on it because you have a certain cut of marketing, but you also have the business money that you've allocated for the district financial meeting as well, to do anything prior to the bond. That vote came from the district financial meeting.
You set aside $15,000 at that meeting.
Okay, so I guess, you know, I'm kind of, I feel like that with the information that is applicable to the bond, a lot of times people are going, we have an FAQ page, I believe that we used to have some sort
Wait,
of,
Greg, I've done all of it, and I have
Right.
shared with the committee that there is only so much bandwidth that we have, and not technological bandwidth, but the ask of myself and Mr. Zenian, it's pretty significant. So in order to keep up the website beyond like what we do, which is what we have a document library, which is what you all see, which is, you know, it definitely has a purpose. That's what we can afford. That's what we have. And it serves a purpose. This was something that the chair asked us to pursue along with the committee member based on the millions of dollars that we've already spent. We're still seeing, and I don't disagree, we're still seeing many misinformation put out there. So this was a way to have somebody man the information in a way that was going to be updated frequently. My day and Mr. Jennings' day, we do the best we can, but the FAQ has not been updated since the new project because we don't have anyone to do it.
okay, but but a lot of times when it comes to the discussions surrounding the bond and the elementary school, I mean, those discussions are being held here at the meetings and
yet we still have misinformation.
well, right, I understand that. There's always going to be misinformation about this stuff. It's just part of the nature
And
of the
again, this was
internet.
something we were asked to bring forward.
Yeah, this isn't something the administration did. This is something that I've requested. And I've gotten emails from members of the community on this. And we're embarking on what's going to be, you know, potentially a 9-figure investment in our community. We don't have a coherent and cohesive source for information related to everything, related to the votes that this committee has done, the votes that we've taken. We don't have information related to the reports that are generated. We don't have a source that a member of the public who doesn't attend these, who isn't embedded in it, can show up, can click on it and go, when was this finally or initially decided? When was this first thought up? What was, why didn't we do this, this, and this? Why are we at this position now with respect to the Charleston School? We're asking the public to trust us. We're asking the public to make an informed decision on whether or not they want to make an investment in their community. And you can't do that without information. And frankly, we have committee members who aren't delivering accurate information consistently. I'm not faulting you guys. I'm not saying it's a heavy lift, but having a resource that's accurate, that's fact-based, that we can reference, to me, makes the most sense possible. It's low dollars compared to what we're asking our people, our towns to vote on. So yes, I charged the administration with doing this. We have dollars assigned to it. Y'all can say yes or no. It's your decision, but that's my thought on it. I can't ask Richmond to support something and not be able to give them all the facts around it in a way where they don't have to spend hours of their day trying to comb through, PDFs where we voted 6 years ago. So, I'll get off my high horse. I'm gonna go with Larry was next, and then I got Miss Purcell, and then back to Dan.
Sorry, I wasn't finished though.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please, Laura, finish.
So the information that would be contained in it though, is it just specific to that? Because I thought I saw information on there about voter, where to vote and things like that. Wouldn't that be a separate thing, and registering to vote and stuff? Would that look like it was within the scope? And that's why I was just wondering if it,
No, I mean, it definitely, because we are regional, our families do get confused about which town hall, they think that they can go to any town hall, but that has different rules because it's not us, it's a state thing. So, anytime in a regional district that you can just provide people with information in a one-stop shop. And to be clear, where is this vote happening is something that, may seem, but I have families who've been in the district for 16 years that didn't realize, that the Charleston vote was only for Charlestown.
but this is happening at the same time as the November election, correct?
Well, this would be starting now through December.
Thanks.
Larry.
Diane already answered
Okay.
the question I was going to say, so.
All right, thank you. Ms. Purcell?
I am here in this position to do what is best for this district. I come here, I listen to conversations, I have an open mind. I vote for things that are not my favorite things because I agree it's for the best of the district. I'm sitting here listening to you all oppose something that we discussed in December that we agree that I think is vitally important. Information across 3 towns is vitally important. There's nothing scary about accurate information. It is the most important thing we can give to the future of this district. When I presented this in December, I said, yes, there's a resource to look for information. It's a bucket of PDFs. When's the last time you looked at it? The main purpose with the website is to ensure that it is accessible to users, including those on a mobile phone, to ensure that all stakeholders have access to one place where they can access information they want, including signing up for email updates and a message function ask questions. The district purchasing policy allows expenses under $10,000 without an RFP. As a graphic designer, I feel extremely passionate about this, and I feel uniquely positioned to express the importance of having an accessible website that provides the information that people need to make a decision for themselves. It's not a website that tells them what decision to make. It's a website that gives them the information they need to make the decision that is right for them, that hopefully is for the good of this district. I think that the new website could work in conjunction with the current necessity for school construction tab, which has an important purpose of housing documents and presentations that are important to the capital improvement planning process that we've been going through for years. I think not having a website last time was a mistake, and that's why I suggested it this time around. There are other districts and other towns that have websites that do exactly what I envision for this website. The quote that is included in this packet is from a professional designer. The website price is good. The timeline to work in that type of a timeline is really a benefit. I think that we should strongly consider this, and we should strongly consider how our colleagues on the school committee treat each other and what they support for the good of the district. That's why we should be here and what our focus should be on.
Thanks, Jess. Diane, and then Karen.
Okay, so, and I get what you're saying, Jess. I really do. Information is knowledge. I mean, everyone wants to know what's going on. And I agree. We should have somewhere where people can find the information that they need. So if we're going to create a website for that, okay, then it shouldn't be website for Unified Elementary School and update. You want to make a website, then make a generalized website that not only encompasses the Unified Elementary School campus information, because basically when you're looking at it, you're looking at this and it looks like, oh, that website is just for the Unified Elementary School information. Am I correct? Look at how it's written.
That's what it would be for.
So what happens after then? What happens to the
It's
website
a link off our
after?
website.
It's just.
It becomes an
That's all.
Do we
archive.
shut it down?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
it's an archive.
Karen.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is an opportunity to provide information to voters who are looking for information. You know, we live in a news desert. We no longer have really any, I mean, we have the Westerly Sun, but it's limited. This is an opportunity to provide important information for all people so that people can make an informed decision when they go to vote.
Thank you. I get it. I get it. It's a challenging issue. Laura?
Sorry, I just, I think that it's a good idea as far as compiling all the information. And by me asking questions about it, I wasn't opposing, I wasn't opposing the idea of it. I just think that it's something where, it's not going to eliminate the disinformation, and we should just be aware of that fact.
Yeah.
Is what I mean is that you can put all the factual information in the world in one place, and that's great, but it's never going to change, the rhetoric that you hear. That's all I mean.
I think you're touching on something. Look, you cannot, educate people unless they want to be educated. Right. But my personal belief in this, I got you, Pat, is that, we're asking and we're asking our towns to believe that they're getting adequate representation and that we're doing the due diligence necessary. This is an area where when we're talking about a 9-figure investment, people can go to, they can click on, and they can find the information and ultimately make a decision for themselves. You're 100% correct. It will not fix misinformation. This is not gonna solve all those problems, but I think it would allow people who end up curious about something they've heard from someone to cross-reference and check whether or not it's factual. And I think that is where there's a lot of value. But
So my point is if people you see disinformation being spread, all you have to do is put the hyperlink that can answer their questions. Instead of listening to this person or that person, let them read it for themselves. If they have a hyperlink and you make it easy for them, they're more than likely going to look at it themselves. If it's difficult, people have limited time. They're not going to dig into the weeds looking for answers. But at least you can go on social media where disinformation's being spread and say, here's the link, look for yourself.
yeah, well said. Well said. Jessica?
a professional web designer and developer, they know how to eliminate friction or points that make information less clear. The point of hiring a professional is that they can make information much more clear than a Facebook post or, you know, I'm not going to say anything about Gina's capabilities, but it's someone that has
Listen,
that,
I always
that
say I'm
expertise.
not a graphic designer. I try my best to be lots of things, but
Yeah.
I do my best.
Okay, I think we've chewed on this one. We have motion and a second for F1. Those in favor? Got 1, 2, 3, 4,
In favor.
5, 6, 7, 8. Motion passes. Those opposed? I've got 1, 2, 3. Those abstaining? And 1 abstention. Polly was
Probably
opposed.
did you abstain?
I said no.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all. I appreciate that. Again, adversarial debates are healthy. They're good for us. We are on to reports, right?
You guys already did the consent agenda, right? You did everything?
Yep, we did everything.
Okay, so that leads up to the back to school updates, which I can't believe it's on Monday for our teachers. Welcome back convocation, which our school committee member, please let Angela know by Thursday morning if you're able to join us. That is for all of our staff. Plan accordingly as it's a packed house, so we start right at 8 a.m. And our first day for students is Wednesday, August 26th in grades K through 12, where our pre-K has a different start time. Secondary schools on the main campus start at 7:30 a.m. and end at 2:15 for our students. And our elementary students are 8:40 a.m. to 3:25. So our families will be getting their back to school welcome letters. Our principals have already shared lots of wonderful activities coming their way, but we ask that you read your school's welcome message and understand arrival, dismissal, any schedules or school-specific events that are coming their way. Please ensure you've updated your phone numbers, your emergency contacts, your email addresses, your cell phone numbers. And please make sure that you have used our Power School Parent Portal. And if you don't know your password, your school can help reset that so that you can get all of the information, all of the forms that come our way. Our parents get at a click of a button, and we're always happy to help at the central office or at the school level to make sure our parents get their notifications. The Power School can send you email notifications, updates for grades, the attendance, etc. Watch out for our website, as we will have more continuous updates for our families. And if you are unsure about information, the best point of contact is always your school administration and your teachers. For transportation, we do have a requirement in our policy that you must sign up by July 1st. If you missed it, that's okay, that happens, or you're new to the district. We ask that you reach out to our bus and register for your child immediately, because it does take some time, because if we have to reroute, we would prefer to reroute before school opens than after. So we make every effort to get those done. We also ask that you stop at your bus stop at least 5 minutes before your designated time. And that we cannot ask drivers to stop at undesignated locations. And we do have rules around how many stops can be 250 feet away. Mr. Zenian is your transportation catch-all. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Mr. Zenian. If you have a concern or the bus company you feel has not listened to a concern that you may have had. All of our bus routes are reviewed by the police departments. Hopkinton, I know, goes out on the third shift and does reviews, as well as Richmond and Charlestown all give us their stamp of approval to ensure that they're safe. But if there's a question for a parent, please make sure that we're made aware. And then really, attendance is one of the big things that we're asking. You can't be in school, and you can't not be in school and think that you're going to have everything that your child needs. And anytime a student is absent, we often want to make sure that our families know, we're here for you to help. Reach out. We are really focusing on our connections this year. Build relationships, build routines at home, learning momentum. Our welcome back letter will have some resources for students who may feel some anxiety about going back. Transitioning back to a full day of school, while there's a lot of excitement, there's also a lot of anxiety, which is very typical. And our staff is well trained to be able to help families in that realm. But overall, please look out for the forms that we ask you to fill out. We do that to ensure that we have the most accurate information. Our family links for our district calendar are right on our website, along with our bus schedules for transportation, which will be posted on the website. So please proceed with caution. Your elementary bus routes are, may look longer because everybody that asks for transportation is listed. I personally ride the buses oftentimes, and I look for the longest one usually. It typically is a lot less time because oftentimes not everybody rides that bus. So we usually tell people to give us about 10 days until you really, until we have a good understanding about that time frame so that everyone can settle in. Other than that, we're excited for the new year. We want to make sure our families have access to connection, curiosity, belonging, and growth. And our goal is for students to feel known, supported, challenged, and prepared. And we welcome everyone back.
Fantastic. Thank you. Appreciate that. We are on to school committee requests for future agenda items and legal opinions.
Sorry, point of order. The other FYI report that was in there, there was a.
FYI, I don't do FYI. FYI is just for your information.
Okay. Are we allowed to ask questions about that though? Okay.
My report, either my superintendent reports and FYI section is just a report out.
So FII is just an info dump, but if you want to discuss it, then that's where we're at now. School committee requests for future agenda items.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to discuss the FYI report that was released about the school committee bullying report. It says it's as required by policy and
You
state
get it
law.
every year. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. We'll bullying report. So we're going to put that as a public agenda item. Mr. Luzon.
Well, not for next time. September.
Staffing level for all ESP staff, including maintenance.
I'm sorry, you're looking for a report on staffing levels for all, okay, staffing levels for all ESP, including maintenance. Okay, you got that one? Yeah, all right. Others? Mr. Lowe?
May we request an update on the issues associated with Ashaway School?
You will
That was
have-
the request from the parent tonight.
Yeah, so you're getting into some pretty
Well,
complex.
if it needs to be done in executive session, just
Well-
an overview of,
Fantastic, fair. Let me answer it this way. You'll have to send me a specific request of what information you need. The problem is that as school committee members, we do not have any legal right to information. What was discussed and shared, 100% of what was presented tonight is out of our purview. We have no authority to discuss that at this stage. We can't do that. That would be illegal. So if there's a specific ask that falls outside of that or that is legal, I mean, we can explore it.
Sorry, I apologize.
So send me what you're looking for. If it's specific enough, maybe we can include it. If it's in executive session, public session, I think we'd be walking into a nightmare. I think we'd hit litigation fast. Any other, Mr. Luzon, do you have another one?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Those in favor? Thank you all. That's unanimous. Appreciate you leading into this.
Apologies. I was checking my son's